that sucked.
Yeah, that sucked. Hey everyone, welcome back. So, as you saw in that intro clip, yeah, I had a pretty nasty crash this past month, and it definitely affected me more than I realized it would. And also, you did read that title correctly. I will be selling the Yeti, but we'll get to that in a minute. So, the crash. This happened the following weekend after the Monarch Crest ride. And if you haven't seen that video, check it out here. That ride definitely humbled me because riding above 10,000 feet was definitely something new. We were out at Colorado Springs that following weekend. Eric wanted to take us on kind of a tour of the best trails in Colorado Springs that he had found the last time he was out there. And when I clipped that tree, it grabbed my front wheel, of course, and instead of immediately going down, I kind of slid sideways because of how loose the gravel was. And that hit a sapling, so that front wheel then got caught and it catapulted me perfectly end over end with the bike in between my leg and everything. And I landed in that really rough gravel that tore up my left side and slammed on my lower back, which is not a good thing because I've already injured my lower back. I first hurt my back when I was 20. I was playing paintball and I did something to mess it up, I'm not sure, but I recovered pretty quickly from that. But then when I was 26, I was doing deadlifts and I didn't drop the weights when I started to fatigue out. Instead, I hung onto them and I just let my whole lower back roll as the weights dragged me down, which is the worst thing you can do. Absolute worst thing you can do. And that damaged the sciatic nerve that runs down my leg and gave me sciatica. And sciatica is basically you get pins and needles in your leg, or burning, or pain, or in my case, loss of sensation. I actually lost the feeling in the very tips of my toes. And that damage was so bad that it took me about a year to recover from that. Funny enough, when I got to the end of that year and was recovered enough to actually get active again, that was when I got back into mountain biking. Go figure. Anyways, so when I crashed in Colorado Springs, what I should have done is gotten to the end of the trail and taken the fire road back home and called it a day. Instead, I popped 800 milligrams of ibuprofen and I kept going because I'm an idiot like that. The following weekend, because I hadn't, invested enough in making sure my back was messed up, I went out to Crested Butte with back pain and engaged in outer bike activities. I went on downhill trails and rode a bunch of bikes and messed up my back a little bit more because I was carrying about 15 to 20 pounds of camera gear because that's how I roll. About a week after that, the sciatica went down my right leg and I was like, crap, here we go again. To get to the point, I did go see a specialist, and the good news is we're optimistic. It's probably not going to be terrible. In fact, I'm already starting to recover. I just wanted to be sure I didn't cause too much damage. He will have me on some steroids to try to help get some swelling down, and then I do need to take it easy for the next 6 weeks. I did get the thumbs up to ride though, which is good because Alex, the single track sampler, is actually here in Colorado Springs, and we are both really hoping to go riding. But it'll probably be him riding and me just tagging along with camera gear, kind of putzing along down the trail. But I'm on a bike, so that's good news. It's actually funny that I bring up Alex because he did mention something on his Patreon channel that I thought was very interesting, and that is yoga for mountain bikers. So the reason I keep injuring myself is not because the discs in my back are getting messed up, but because I'm so stiff in my lower body that when I move my legs too much in one direction, it'll actually stretch the nerves a little bit. And nerves are elastic, but they don't like to stretch too far. And so if I'm not working on my mobility, it doesn't take much to aggravate those nerves and flare up that sciatica. So I think this year is going to be the year that I get serious about it. Do a bunch of training to get my core strength up, but more importantly, get my mobility up. that is the number one thing that keeps killing me. So that's my goal for this winter. Really get myself in a good, healthy place to be a strong, capable rider and take care of myself. So, have you had any injuries before, or are you dealing with an injury now? Have any tips, concerns, thoughts on the stuff in general? Leave it in the comments below. I'd be interested to hear what your experiences are or your thoughts are. So now let's talk about the Yeti and why I'm selling that. So it's not so much that I got injured and I need to sell it. It's since I'm kind of off the bikes anyways, this might be a good time to sell this bike. I definitely will miss it. I love this bike, but there is a good reason why I'm selling it. I'm 6'2" with a 32-inch inseam. That means all my height, or most of my height, is in my torso, so I need a lot of reach. With the Yeti bike, in order to fit it correctly, I needed to size up to the extra large. Well, that was great for the reach, but then I had this massive seat tube here. 521 millimeters of seat tube to be perfectly exact, which only left me with 100 millimeters worth of dropper post. That's not a lot for a bike that has 150 millimeters of front travel alone. And when I'm going down the really steep, chunky stuff, yeah, this seat comes up and says hello even when I have it dropped down all the way. So I would like a little bit more cockpit to maneuver around on my next bike. So that's why I'm selling this. Now, as far as bikes that I'm considering, I have test rode a ton. The Mondraker, the Ibis Ripmo, of course. I've kind of sat on a few Evil bikes. What else? Man, I've honestly stopped counting at this point. But I still have a ton more bikes to look at, but I am starting to narrow it down. So what type of bikes do you guys think I should try? I am kind of leaning more towards a 29er this year. A 27.5 wouldn't be out of the question, but 29er mid-travel is kind of where I'm leaning towards. Now, I've ridden the Mondraker Foxy, the Ibis Ripmo, of course, and a few other bikes. And I am starting to narrow it down a little bit, but I haven't made a final decision yet. So leave your thoughts below what type of bikes you think I should ride. I'm always open for suggestions. So with that, hopefully I will be back on the bike soon, even though it's basically going to be the end of the season by the time I really get back into the swing of things. But the good news is fat biking is always a possibility, and Colorado has sometimes pretty mild winters, so it's not the end of the world. This is just a bump in the road that I have to recover from. Hopefully you guys are doing well and you're not off your bikes. If you are, keep a stiff upper lip, take it easy, do what your doctor tells you, and look forward to seeing you out on the trail next year. Until that time though, get out there and find your next adventure. Have a good one.